Hey there guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll look at JavaScript array methods in detail. So we're going to look at array methods that are used in JavaScript, and these JS array methods are most useful. Okay, they are the most useful ones that you will not fail to use in your JavaScript projects. So let's dive in. So the first array method that we're going to look at today is the foreach. So we look at foreach array method like this. So let me just comment it. Okay. So what is foreach? So foreach is common to most of us programmers. So foreach, what it does, it iterates over a given array, and then it is able to return particular array of elements in a sequential manner. So let's look at it in an example to be able to understand, and why is it used in JavaScript, right? So for example, this is the syntax. So now this is the syntax that you'd use to with the that is for each array method. So you have the array and the for each, the callback, and that is the callback function. Then here we have the value. So this is just the value of the particular element, the index, where is it located at, that is the index of the particular array element, and then the array itself, that is the whole array. So let's just do an example and be able to understand how it works. So so now this is array, this is the for each. For example, you have a variable constant fruits, and then let's say it's in array form, like let's just give particular elements. This that is examples of fruits. So here we have, oranges, then we have bananas, like that, and then here we have lemons, like so. So now this is just an array of elements, and then now here what you're going to do, we are going to use the for each method so that we can access each element in the array and print them out, all of them, just as the way you see them. So here we are going to have the for each, which is now the array method, and then here we are going to have the callback function, that is we are going to define it as a fruit. So now the callback function is the one that is going to call this array of elements so that we can print them out using the for each. So here we're going to say, so let's just use the alert, and then we indicate fruit, that is this one, and then here we can close with. So here we have in this, and then here we need to close it like this because of the, like that. So okay, so this one will just be that way. So what are we doing here? So what we have just defined an array, a variable, and then here we have defined the array of elements, and then the fruits dot for each, and then the the callback function, which is fruit, and then the alert statement here. So what it does is it will call this particular that is under the fruits. We are able to call the array of elements, and then we are able to print them. So the fruits being the defined variable, and then the for each method. So let's just look at it in an example. Let's see. Okay, so we have the first one, second one, the third one, lemons, and that is, so in short, this is what in short, this is what we have. We can also just instead of just using alert, we can just use the console, maybe for the console.log, and then here we have the fruit which we are printing out. I think this is okay. So let's just see this in action. Let's just inspect. So from the console, you can see now this is the array of elements that are printed in this particular way. So this is how we use the for each. So it's that is, it is able to print the elements in a for loop manner, that is a loop manner. It's able to loop over this particular element, and then you're able to use it. So this is how I use the for each array method, which is an advanced array method in JavaScript. Okay, now you can also have it in this way. So since I had shown you the syntax here where we have the value, index, and the array, you can also do it in this way. So let me just comment out this one, and let's look at it in another way. So here you can also have something like okay, let's use this one again. So this one is const fruit, and then here, so here we can have something like fruits dot for each, and then here we have the value, and then the index, and then we also have the array. So now the purpose of this one is just to show you the array, the index, that is the value, the index, and the array, so that when we do the other examples, it will be easy for you just to know where how they are, what they are. So that's the purpose. So here we have here we'll have the console.log, and then so here we will log the value, the index, and the array, and then now here we can close that one, and then just like that. So now basically what we are doing here, we are now getting the value, the index, and the array, just like this. So yeah, so let's see how this is working. Yes, so now you can see now here what we have in here. We have in the value, the index, so mangoes is located on the index 0, and then now we have the array itself. So now this is so the array has 4 elements, being the first one is counted from 0, 1, 2, and then 3, but all of them, they are 4. So and then like so that's it. That's how you're able to identify the index, the value, and the array. And this is from the, remember, this is from the syntax I just shown you from above. Alright guys, so that is how you use the for each method in JavaScript. That is in JavaScript, and it's an advanced method that you not fail to use it in your JS projects as you advance. Okay, so now let me just remove this. Let's look at the next. Okay, so now the next one is the map. So what is map? Now so map is a method that is one of the most used method, and what it does, it iterates through an array and creates a brand new array. So what it does, basically it just creates a new array from the given array, and you can say as well it has also the following syntax. So it has this syntax, as you can see. So what it is having here is that we can have a let, a variable, a particular variable. So and then we have the array that is .map, and then the function, the callback function, the item, index, and array. Now I think now you already know this already. And then here we are going to return the new array. So let's have an example. So here you can have something like const fruits, and then here we have I think I should not have taken out that particular example because I'm still using the same example. So here we have oranges. Okay, so we have oranges, and then so this is okay, and then lemons. Okay, so now that is the array that we have in. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to define a particular, we're going to define another variable const, and this is a method. This method is going to change these letters to uppercase. So here I'm having something like we're going to use this method in JavaScript to so this is like that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to alert this so as to return the fruit or the fruit elements. That is the letter, the first letter to be uppercase. So this is what we're going to do. So here we are just returning fruit uppercase like this, and let me see what we may be having. So here we have, okay, this variable is not defined, so it's fruit. Sorry, this should be fruit. Oh, sorry, this. So here we have fruits. I had even forgotten to put the method. So here we're going to have the function, and then from the function, okay, and then the callback function, which is now there, which are going to define it as fruit. And then now from this one, we're going to return the, that is, let me do this. Okay, so this is so I'm going to return fruit to uppercase like that, but this one should be not fruit to uppercase, but should be dot uppercase, that is to uppercase, sorry. Right guys, so now this is what we having. So we having the const fruit uppercase equals to fruits.map, and then now we are having the callback function, and then return fruit to uppercase. So here we are going to alert the fruit uppercase. So uppercase is just a JavaScript a functionality in JavaScript, or a method in JavaScript that is able to transform particular elements or particular given array of elements into uppercase, that is to uppercase letters. For example, mangoes will be turned to mangoes with uppercase. So now when I save this one, and since I'm using alert, so let me just close that. So you can see now they will be all turned to uppercase. So now basically what are we understanding here is that map function, what it does, it returns a brand new array. It just changes whatever array that we had given to something that is totally new. In other words, it transforms the array into something new. Alright, so now let's look at the next one. I think I may not, I think I may use this one at some point. So let's look at the next one. So let me take out this one. So the next one is find. Remember, these are the advanced array methods that you'll use in your JavaScript project. So okay, so what is the find method? The find method, what it does, it locates an object with a given specific condition and returns the particular element. In other words, it's simple. It just finds a particular element in a given array of elements. So okay, so the syntax is just same. So the syntax is just similar as I just shown you. So let me just show you the example, and then from there you can you just relate the syntax as well. You can also check out this in my website, Web Dev Trainee, where I've written this tutorial. You can also check there where I've explained all this all of these concepts in a detailed manner. So let's just look at it. So find, okay, so this is the example. So here we are going to change some things. So here I'm just going to change this to let instead of const. Remember, there's a difference between the const and the let variables. So I've discussed this one in my JavaScript beginners tutorial, so you may want to check that in my website. You can just check, or in the description, I'll leave a link in the description so that you can just go and have a look at if you are interested in learning JavaScript from scratch. I've also done I've done a tutorial on getting started with the JavaScript. Okay, so this is let. So here we're going to have we are still going to have the array of elements, as you can see. And then here, what we're going to have here, I think we'll have something like okay, so here we are going to have something like this, let fruit. So we are going to define that variable, and then we are going to change this to find. So we wanted to find an element within our given array of data. So here fruits.find, and then here we're going to have like this, and then we're going to assign this one. So we wanted to find banana example. So these bananas. So we wanted to find banana, and let me close that. All right. So here, this one should not be there. Okay, so let me just remove it this one. Okay, so now that is what we wanted to do. So we wanted to find this banana, and then now here we are just going to have the alert. So that is now that is what is happening right now. And then here we don't need to have this one. Yes. So what we wanted to do is that so we are using the find method, defining the callback function, and then we are assigning it to this particular string element, which is located under this one, and then we are telling it to find the particular element in this array. So let's see. So once we hit, so it's able to find banana within the particular array of elements. So it's just simple as that. As well, let's look at another example. I think this was very simple enough for you to understand. So let's look at another example. Now you can also have it in this way. For example, here, let me just do this. So here you can also have something like this. So you can also have something like this. So what you are having is that we are having okay, we are defining the variable, and then we are defining the ID and then the name of the particular array like this. So what we want to do here, we want to define let fruits find, and then here we are going to have the something like we are going now to use item is equals to the item.id. so we are just replacing that fruit with item so that it can find a particular ID of a particular array of data which is located under a particular ID. So here, for example, this is not string, so we are going to use it like this. All right, so and then we are going to let's use the console.log fruit. All right, so now this is what we are doing. So we have in the array of elements, and then we just want to find a particular array of element within this array. So for example, we want to find pineapples, which is located with the ID of 4. So we are telling it to locate for us. Let's change this one to should be only to equal. So we want it to locate for us this one, this element. So we have signed it ID. So item is equals item.id, which is this one, and then now here we are finding the item. So let's check. So that means I need to go to the console here, and then the console. So you can see, so the ID is 4 and then the name is pineapples. So this is how you use the find method in JavaScript. Okay, so now you also need to know that if the find method finds nothing, to return undefined. So it returns. So here you just need to know that it returns undefined if it does not find anything. So just take note of that. All right. So now the next one is the filter method. So let's check filter method. So what is filter method? Now filter methods is also another method that is used to return our values that match a given condition, and that is passed to the callback function. So for example, it will filter all the elements and give you whatever element that it matched. In other words, it will return the values that match a particular given test condition that is passed to the callback function. Now the syntax is simple. You just have the let variable. For example, you have something like the syntax could be something like array, and then dot filter, and then the callback function. So here we have the function itself, and then we have the item, and just similarly with what we have been looking at, index, and then the array. So that is how that is the syntax, right? So that is just the syntax. Okay, so so let's look at an example. So we are having something like let fruits be equal to, I'm still having the same array of elements. So let me just copy this so that I don't. So this is it. So let me just paste this one here for you to see. Sorry, it is not the same. So this is it. So so here I'm defining the given array like this. So this is simple for you to understand. So this already is familiar. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to define the let, and then I'm going to define this fruit is equals to fruits dot filter. So what we are doing here, we are filtering we are filtering a given elements with, okay, let me just do it so that you get it instead of okay, so here we are going to say ends with a particular letter. Okay, so let me just finish it up. Okay, so this is and then here we're going to have a lot fruit. Okay, so now this is very easy also to understand. So what we are doing here is that we are going to filter all elements that have the letter that ends with the letter of S. So you can see oranges, pineapples, and then olives. You can see, so all of them end with the letter of S. So we are going to filter these elements and collect them. So here you'll expect it to give me oranges, pineapples, and olives. You can also use the one start with. So for example, let's say it starts with P, which should be pineapples, and which one else? I think it's only pineapple alone. So here we are going to also have pineapples alone. So this is how it is. You can also do it in other examples, which I may not want to do now because of I think those two examples are enough. So just for you to understand what the filter method does, right? Okay, so so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, just subscribe, like this video if you find it useful, and share it with your friends. All right, so let's continue. So the next one we are looking at is the every method. So this is another one. Okay, so what is every method? Every method is another method that is used to check if an array of elements match a provided test condition from the callback function. Therefore, it returns a boolean true or false. So it will just check if a given method, if a given array of elements match a provided test condition. So let's just check it in an example. So as well, the syntax will just be that every, so array.every, and then the function, the callback function, and then the rest, the item, the index, and the array. So what we are, okay, so let's do this an example. So here we have something like let edges be equal to 67, 23, 40, and 57. Okay, and here we're going to define another variable, let edge be equal to edges dot every, and then here we're going to have edge okay, so edge then is greater than 20. Now what we are doing here, we are checking if this particular array of elements, if all of them are greater than 20, and as you can see, that is true. So it's going to print a boolean which shows that this is true. So here we are going to have a lot, so just to print out what we want. So you can see all of them are true. So this is going to return true because all the elements are greater than 20. So this is what every method does. It checks if the elements satisfy a provided test condition, and then it returns a boolean true or false. Now let's go to the other one, which does similar thing, but now this one it returns all the elements have to satisfy the particular given test condition for it to return true or false. This is called sum array method. So here, so let's look at sum array method. So now this is another one. The syntax is still the same. They can check, so it is still the same. So what it does, this one, sum method doesn't have to return true or false for all elements. What it does, like the every method, so that is if one element meets the provided test condition, then the method will return true for all elements. So let's just check this in an example for you to understand. So here we have, for example, we have the ages 23, 40 and 57, and then here let's change this one to sum, and then here we have the ages just like that. So there's nothing much we are going to do, just a change of the method. So now here you can see, so all of the elements have to meet that is sorry, if one element meets the provided test condition. Now you can see 67 is greater than, that is greater than 20, or is more than 20, so, and 23 and so forth. So the first one, this one will be true, so it will return true for, because 8 of them meets. But now if this one was 13, for example, you can now see 13 is less than 20, so we would have expected it to return maybe false because one of the elements doesn't meet the test condition. But now remember, this is sum, this would have happened in every. So let's check. So it will still return true because one of these elements is still giving the satisfaction. We can even remove this one to 0, we make this one 7, so you can see these ones are less than 20. So when we save and run this one, it will still return true because this element satisfy the given condition. But now if, for example, we go back to every, okay, yes, every, so that means it will return false because all the elements have to they all have to satisfy the given condition. So let's have this one like 23. Now you can see 7 is less than 20, so it will still return false because all of them are not giving they are not satisfying. It has to be every. So sum, that is what it does. So this one, for sum, it will return true because one of the elements is satisfying the condition. So I think that is easy to understand. So lastly, let's look at the last one. I think, yes, the last one. So the last one is the reduce. So the reduce method. So what does the reduce method do? Now the reduce method calculates a single value in an array by calling a function for each element. So what it does is that it has something we call the accumulator, which has the initial value that is used in the array, and it is the result of the previous function call. Now let me do it in an example. Maybe you may not have understood what I've just said. So so the syntax is this reduce, and then here we have the callback function, and then here we have something we refer to as accumulator. Okay, and then the item, then the index, and the array. Now this accumulator, as I've just defined, is the one that contains the initial value that is normally is as a result of the previous function call. For example, we want to find the sum of all these numbers. 67 plus 23 plus 40 plus 7 will give us a particular resulting value. So for it to, now for them, so all of them are being added each by each, right? So the initial value here will be 67, which will be added to 23. Now what this accumulator does, it it will have the initial value, which is 67, and then it will add up the next value from the previous value, right? Let's do this in an example. So here, let's have something like const array. Just we are still going to use the same numbers, and then here we are going to have sum, and then here we're going to have still going to define const, and then here we have the array. So here we have in the array, and then the method itself, which is the reduce. So here let me take this one out. So what we have in here is we have in the sum, and then here I'm going to define another variable current, which is going to hold our current value, and then let's have this arrow sign into, okay, so this is going to have sum. So we are going to have the sum plus the current. So let me just print it and explain. Alright, so this is and then we are going to give it the initial value there. Alright, so there's something here. Okay, we have in the reduce, okay, into sum. Alright, so sum is assigned a value which is never used. So I think there's alright, so now this is the array dot reduce, and then the sum, and then the current. So so this is the, okay, so this should be sum like that. So what we are doing here, we have in the const array, and then the array, the data, and then now here we are defining the const sum, and then the array reduce sum current, and so forth. Now what you need to understand here is that we have defined the accumulator. Now the accumulator has the initial value, which is 0, so it is going to initialize the initial value 0. So what we are going to do here is that 0 will be added 0 plus 67. So the first value will be 67, and then now the next value, which is 23, will be added to 67, and then 40 will be added to the sum of the 67 plus 23. So, and then the result will also be added to 7, and then now here we are going to print the value. So what you need to understand is that the sum and the current will hold the current value, and then now the sum will now give us the total sum of all the array of elements in this particular order. So I believe it should be 137. So this is how we use reduce in JavaScript. So it is one of the advanced array method function that you may want to go and use it in your JavaScript projects. So here what I was just doing is just laying you the foundation, the fundamentals, so that you can go and explore on them. Now what you may want to do is that you may want to check my website, Web Dev Training. So I've written, I do write tutorials here, so whatever I've explained here I've also written down. So you may also have this code, the source code, and you may copy and also do it in your practice so that you may understand more. So you may want to explore. So the website is just webdevtraining.com. So here, so webdevtraining.com, and you'll be taken to the website, right guys? So guys, let's meet in the next tutorial. If you have any question about this, you can post it in the description, and I will check it out. So subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like this video, and don't just watch and leave. Just make sure you subscribe if you find the video helpful to you. right? So let's meet in the next tutorial.